Welcome to Warrior Commission Now, where we talk about practical ways to live out your commission with God. I'm Christine Caston.
And I'm Sharon Rudolph.
And we are here today just to, we're going to discuss timing is everything. And in this conversation, we're exploring God's timing and his majesty and his sovereignty and how that kind of works in our lives with his timing. And so as we do that, one of the things that we've learned is to really be sensitive to the times and seasons. And that sensitivity has allowed us as a community and the Warrior Commission to be able to really know when to move, when to stay, when to focus on development of things, when to tweak things or refine things, and when to establish new things within our community. And part of that has to do with being sensitive to God's heart, how he's moving, what's on hand at that moment in time in that season, and kind of what the freedoms are in that season to explore. So as we explore this timing is everything, Sharon, what would you like to share that has kind of been on your heart with this topic?
The thing that you said that caught me is what are the freedoms to explore? And I think in walking with God, in our partnership with God, it's about his plans. It's about what he wants to do. So Psalm 33, verse 11, the plan of the Lord stands forever. The plans of his heart are from generation to generation. Mm-hmm. And he has a cosmic plan, mm-hmm. and he knows what he's doing. And we have so many opportunities in the partnership with him. But it is so delightful to take time to sit back and explore, okay, what is God up to? Mm-hmm. What is the plan? What's he doing in relevance to that plan? Because God is so good. Mm-hmm. He really is good. Mm-hmm. And he has, sorry, my phone just fell over. He is, and he lets us be a part of it. But the timing and being in alignment with God's timing can be critical, mm-hmm. for an organization, mm-hmm. Something like TWC that we are, or whether it's an individual life, because God's plan has supremacy. Mm-hmm. That is the ultimate. Oh gosh, I don't have a word. That is ultimate suits it. That is the ultimate. There is no subsequent minor plan that can ever trump God's plan.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because his plans will come to pass. He knows, yes, the beginning and the end, right? So he, yes, is sovereign. And I think, part of our journey, a lot of times when we start off in our journey with God and as we're growing in more maturity, we tend to be very self-focused, right? How does this impact me? What does it look like for me? I want this, I want that, and we're kind of in that demanding child phase. Yes. It's all about me, Lord. But as we move into a place of maturity, we realize that it's actually all about him and his heart and what his passion is. And we get to partner with that. It's part of moving into that place of truly loving and pursuing his heart, because as we do that, our hearts align with his doesn't align with ours, if that makes sense. Right. Yeah. And so in that alignment, what we're actually doing is we're finding our place within his plan and purpose and what that looks like for us as we move forward. And I think about, just those times when I felt the Lord say, or encourage me to go to a certain place, now that may have been like a true trip somewhere, or it may have just been, hey, go to this store or go to this, go to this place. And so I out of obedience, I go, and then all of a sudden there's someone there right? There's someone that is a divine appointment or a divine assignment, depending on, what the situation is. But God orchestrated it in the amazing symphony that he's always creating
Yes.
for a harmony and a melody to come together,
Right.
and for those to be able to intertwine in that moment so that a beautiful sound is created. And it's a sound that intertwines itself in the greater symphony of God, his plan, his purposes. And if we're out of tune, if we say, no, we aren't going to go, we aren't going to do that, I don't like that idea, I don't want to go to that store, kind of thing. And
Right.
we basically step into disobedience. God will orchestrate it for that person to receive what they need, I believe. But we miss the opportunity to align with his plan and purposes in that place. And so timing really is everything. And I know, one of the things we work with a lot of people is where they are in what season. And Sharon, you as our director of member development, you're working with people a lot to recognize what season we're in, where they're moving into, all those kinds of things. What would you share about God's timing in our individual journeys and kind of how his sovereignty works in that place?
Well, we like to say in the Warrior Commission, God's not looking for zombie robots, right? He's not making cookie cutter people. Each person is unique, and he is always in charge, but he's not necessarily controlling everything. He is giving us choice and helping us walk the path ahead of us, being engaged in it, right? And yet, if there's something aligned with God's sovereignty and his ultimate plan, he is going to do more than take charge. He will bring to pass what needs to be brought to pass. And you see that all through the Bible.
Yeah.
And so if you study the Bible, you can start to pick up on those things in your own life. That, just like you said, okay, I need to be in this place at this time. And yes, I'm just buying home repair supplies, right? But that person you went to high school with is there. And God saw to it that, yes, the traffic was terrible, but if you'd gotten there 20 minutes earlier, you would have missed them, right? He steps in his supremacy to bring about the best for us. And I think it's huge as we look at life to find delight in God, the great multitasker, and how he's weaving these things together, even if we don't understand in the moment. And we may not get it till we get to heaven.
Right.
But in our alignment with the heart of God and being available for what he is about, we get to be part of something so much greater than ourselves. And there is, it is satisfying. It is satisfying to know that we are part of the plans and purposes of God. And that's a word that in the cult, they've started to teach that in elementary school, because to grow up into maturity, part of that is understanding what satisfies me, not just makes me happy, but you settle, right? You settle into, gosh, this is good, right? And that's part of this alignment with the plan of God versus the, okay, God, this is my agenda. Can you please make it?
And I think it actually shifts us in our day to day, because as we're we hit that traffic jam, or we hit that thing that delays what we think is our timing. And then we realize, oh, I would have missed this. All of a sudden you get a better grid for the supremacy of God and the majesty of God, but you also learn to operate in a place of peace and trust that the things that may be happening, again, not that he orchestrates everything, but the things that may be happening may actually be part of his plan and purpose for that moment in time, for that timing to happen in the right order so that you are present when that high school friend is checking out, so that you are there at that basketball game when, someone from college, is there, or so that you're outside, checking the mail. I had a story when we were selling one of our houses, our first houses. We've moved a lot, but when we were selling one of our first houses, I had literally just gone out and checked the mail, and I was home, and I was just getting the house, keeping it clean and all that kind of thing. And I felt like the Lord said, go out and check the mail. And I was like, I just checked the mail. I mean, like I just checked it. There's nothing there. I just checked it. But anyway, I was like, okay. So I walked outside, and there was a gentleman outside of our house. He had driven up in his car, and he was looking at our for sale sign, and he said, are y'all trying to, sell your house? And he asked, questions about it. And then he came in and looked at it. He ended up buying our house. Now, if I hadn't been out there, it's not that he may not have ended up buying our house, but it wouldn't have happened in that moment. I mean, he literally bought it on the spot, because of location and all that. It was everything he was looking for. And so all of a sudden my house is sold literally within a week, basically, of putting it on the market. And so I think about, again, that timing and being sensitive to God's sovereignty and how he's speaking to our hearts, how he's encouraging us, compelling us to explore those things. And, we may explore something and it may not happen right away, like we may be trying and we may be like, oh, that didn't work, but just keep trying, because eventually you'll learn to distinguish really what the promptings of the Lord are in our lives. And we will be established in that place, in that moment, for that perfect timing, for such a time as this that he has for us.
Yes. And in the Warrior Commission, Christine and I are both part of the Warrior Commission. And that's really been a beautiful place for us to connect and have conversations. And these conversations are happening out of years of conversations. Yeah. But in the Warrior Commission, we train for that very thing, being in alignment with God, hearing his heart, knowing the promptings, being able to read the signs of the times, and be able to walk with him for what's possible and the freedoms in that space. So if that's something you'd be interested in exploring, or you'd like to be a part of a community that values honoring God and his timing, check out thewarriorcommission.com. That's our website, and see what we have to offer. I think you will find that this is a good place to pursue alignment with the timing of God. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks so much. You guys have a great day. Bye.